I'm telling you what, those songs move my heart. Did they move anybody else? If they didn't move your heart, you're either sick or dead. Pinch yourself to see which one you are. My name is Ernie, and I'm a human-aholic. Thank you, that one person who gives a rip. Appreciate that, RJ. But I have a confession to make tonight before I call some people up to talk. I want you to know that with all of my heart and all of my breath, for the rest of my life, I will serve Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone. It's a pledge I'm making, every one of you tonight, because I've fallen in love with our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm a sinner just like you all are. I've done things in my life. I've hurt people in my life. Some of it I didn't mean to, and some of it I did. I've done a lot of other things that I'm not proud of, that I would be flat out ashamed if Jesus was standing right there. That's not ever who I ever want to be. I want to be a follower of Jesus. I want to be one who's in a service like this when the Spirit of God wants to move on my heart. I want to be one who lets Him. I want to be one who, more often than not, takes those rocks that are inside of my heart that are bothering me and hurting me and wounding me, and I want to lay them at the feet of Jesus, and I don't want to hold on to them anymore because they hurt people. And I don't want to hurt anyone in my life ever again. Every morning when I get out of bed, I imagine that I'm going to a fueling station. And I can fuel myself with a lot of things during the day. I could leave my house angry. I could rip people apart. I could make people's life miserable. And I say, Lord, as long as I'm at the filling station, the handle that I'm going to pick today is joy. No matter what today brings, I'm going to fuel myself with joy. And whether my day goes good or whether my day goes bad, I'm going to work as hard as I can to make someone else's life better. I want them to be better because they know me, because they've talked to me, because they've been in my presence, and there's nothing special about me other than the fact that I hope that I can surrender to such a point that there's millions of people in heaven because of my testimony and because of a kind word that I've told them. In group tonight, we got to talk about that, didn't we? About being kind to others, and we just never know. The person sitting next to you, look to your right and to your left. You do not know what they're going through right now. You have no idea. Unless you've asked them. But most people don't ask. We'll float in and out of God's house. We'll float in and out of worship, and we won't even ask one another, hey, Karsten, what's really going on in your life? And wait for the answer, right? Tonight we have 3 people that we're going to interview. We're going to talk to them about what their impressions are right here with this group, with this church. We're called Inspire Family Fellowship. Those are 3 powerful words. We want to inspire you. We want to pump you up is what we want to do. We want your family to win, and we want you to have such fellowship with one another that what is said about us out there, when people talk about Inspire, is, I have never seen a group of people who loved each other more than this group does. Man, wouldn't that be great? So when it comes back through the lines, we know that we send all of you out every single week. And we send you out with a mission. not to make us look good, but to make Jesus look good. Right? Say amen. Amen. Since you're the only one answering me, I'm going to call on you, bro. That means a lot, man. I got you. So tonight, we have 3 people we're going to talk to, and RJ is going to be one of them, and so let's welcome RJ tonight. Absolutely. And this guy comes from the Miracle Mile. He always comes in with a big old smile. Let's welcome Kyle. Woo! Woo, that's right. Let's do that shoulder bump. I feel better after doing that, bro. And then the girl that's going to represent all of you young females here with a word from the Lord. Let's welcome Hatley. She's coming. Yes, right here. All right. So I invite you all to have a seat. Welcome to this, I feel like a talk show host today. Well, welcome to the show today. You out there in TV land, I hope you enjoy what's going on tonight. And you in the studio, let's hear a word from you. Awesome. I know, an applaud sign. All right. I've got some questions for you all. Let's start with your names. Let's just start with that.
Well, nice to meet you, everybody. My name is Kyle, and I go to BHS.
I'm Hatley.
I'm RJ, and I'm in like the 23rd grade at this point.
All right, bro. The 6th grade was the happiest 4 years of my life. Man, oh boy. Okay, so this will be you guys'. Okay, so let me ask you this. You know, here we really try to teach and we try to train students and leaders to be leaders and to make a difference type of a thing. And every one of you have been here, you've been here a little more than a year, right? And you've been here less than that. And Kyle, you just dropped out of nowhere, man. I mean, we know we've been brothers all along, but how long you been here? Probably about?
Not more than 4 weeks, 5 weeks, maybe.
He's a newbie. So this is like quality control. We get to ask, how are we doing, type of a thing. And so this is going to be a beautiful time for us together. Let me ask you this, Kyle. Not to put you on the spot or anything, but what is your spiritual background?
Not much, really. My dad's from a small town, North Dakota, and we used to go to church on Sundays when visiting my grandparents.
Okay.
But other than that, I haven't been really spiritually connected to anything. And I was like, Grandma, I think I'm gonna go to this one. I've been told about it. We're gonna see what it's like. We're gonna try it out.
Yep, so before you pass the microphone, where did you hear about Inspire, and who was that from?
Well, it's this guy called Luke Naslund.
Luke, would you just stand right there, because this is important. Absolutely.
And this is quite a story, because for weeks, even before I came here, it was nonstop stories of, oh my gosh, yesterday we did this, oh my gosh, you would not believe what Ben Rolstad did yesterday. Oh my gosh. And
so they're talking about it.
oh my gosh, yes.
And you're listening in.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, Kyle, you just gotta come. This is like the breakfast table, the lunch table for weeks. And
they're at school talking about what's going on in this group?
Oh yeah.
Holy fire, this is worse than I thought.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's like catchy, and like, are you sitting at that table or are you at another table?
Well, I'm sitting at the table.
Okay, so you're there and you're leaning in and you're going, woo.
Mm-hmm. Well, at first I was leaning in because he was like, you just gotta come, and I was like, okay, Luke, okay. It was like, no, like really, like it's a lot of fun. And he's swiping through all these pictures on his phone. It was like, oh my gosh, this was at camp. Like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look, what is he doing? Oh, and this is cowboy night where we all dressed as cowboys.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Luke, one night, I'll come. He goes, oh, Ben, there's free food. And by the way, that food is amazing. So for all the people who serve it, oh my goodness, thank you so much.
Let's hear it for the people who serve the food. Absolutely. Okay, so then you decide, what made you actually get off the couch and say, I'm going to go to that church. I'm going to try this.
Luke's persistence.
Okay, we're going to leave it at that for right now. Hadley, how you doing?
Oh, I'm great. I don't know if I can top that. That was like storytelling over there.
Yeah, this isn't your story is your story, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a good one, Hadley. What's your spiritual background, Hadley?
Oh gosh. So my dad grew up in Robinson, North Dakota, right? So they went every Sunday. My grandpa and grandma were on like the church committee, like kept it running. And my mom grew up in Faith, South Dakota, and then Williston, and kind of same story, had the church running. So they were always kind of a big part of it. And then I ended up moving to Bismarck for schooling. I originally went to Wilton. When I was in Wilton, I went to Sunny Lutheran with Danny for a really long time. And then when we moved to Bismarck, we were kind of just lost on where to go. So we kind of just quit going for a while until we found here.
Okay, how did you hear about it?
Well, I was originally at Charity for a really long time. I really enjoyed it there, and then there was kind of a break apart, and Ben Pesky's nagging for like a year.
I know, his last name's Pesky.
Yes, he was pesky.
You know that pesky kid?
No,
He
for
keeps
like
pestering me.
yes, for like a year. He was just like, Hallie, just gotta come try. And then pretty soon Carson was like, he's not wrong, and I was like, he's probably not.
So you were in on this?
100%.
You two tag teamed and brought her in? What is happening? Okay, go on.
So I ended up just deciding to come one week, and I told Ben that he could not abandon me because I was scared that I wasn't going to know anybody, and has pretty much came every single week since.
Oh, that is so awesome. I have to mention something particularly about you, okay? It's going to be painless. It's going to be okay, but it's something that we have noticed as a staff has begun to happen. You came for a while before your parents did.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you here before your parents?
Oh gosh, nearly a year probably.
Now, wait a minute. I got a question. We've had like 4, maybe 5 kids. We're becoming the church where the kids bring their parents. It's usually the other way around. Yeah, we had to get that kid out of bed, to get in here. No, they're having to get their parents out of bed. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's your case, but how did it come about that you like this so much that one day, did you say, Mom and Dad, I'd like you to come with me?
Well, I kind of got into the habit of coming to coffee shop afterwards, and my parents were getting frustrated because I wouldn't get home till like 10 o'clock. So they'd be like, what are you doing at this church that you are not getting home? So finally I was like, you just got to come one day, and you'll see, like, it is a totally different vibe. It's crazy, it's wild, but they're on fire for Jesus. And they came one day, and it was crazy, and ever since then, they've come every single Sunday.
Absolutely, and they joined about a month ago. Mm-hmm. Your parents did. You brought them in, and we'll talk about that a little later. I mean, people for people, you had some influence on your parents, and now they get to come in here and eat from this banquet, which you have loved, and you get to do this together. Does that mean something to you, Hadley?
Well, it means everything.
I knew it would. It would to me, too. How about this guy right here?
Oh,
this is Rick the man, and we are like dueling Tommy boys, right? We are.
Do we really want to get into this right now again?
Motivational speakers. I don't think you're worth. Anyway, okay, we're not going to get into that.
We've already scarred about 30 kids tonight doing that.
Yep.
So.
One day we are going to have a dueling Chris Farley in front of you all, and we're going to just have a Farley off.
It's going to be entertaining, I promise.
But this man right here, you've recently moved to this place, so let's go there for a little bit.
Yeah, so I moved back to. So I was born and raised here in Bismarck. I moved away, June of 2016. And, I'd been following Randy and the Upgren boys and Upgren clan for years. Josh has been my best friend since we were like 10. I mean, him and I do everything together. As him and I will say time and time again, he's my brother. And
So wait a minute. So you're an alumni.
yeah, pretty much. I mean,
kind of an alumni.
well, and then, I came back to visit right before the pandemic in 2020 in January, and Josh had told me about, hey, we started up this church, you should come. And I showed up for one Sunday, and I was blown away. And then, in 2021, my mom passed away. That's a story for another time. But we had her funeral here, and I felt very comfortable having her service here because I knew so many people that loved and cared about not only myself, but her. Yeah. And that meant so much to me. So then when I moved back, it was only a given that I was going to come and help. And it's not because I really wanted to help, but it was just because Randy was going to force me to help. In a good way, I promise you. I love you, Randy. But I mean, it was just, everything about this church I love. I mean, I haven't found one thing that I haven't gone, man, we should change this. There's not one thing that I haven't, it's just blown me away every time. And I've been back since May of last year, and I loved every second.
Yep, and surely, we're a church like everybody else. We're filled with humans, and when you have humans in a church, problems do happen, and you surely know that this is not a perfect church, right?
We are imperfect people serving a perfect God, as the quote says. I mean, it's absolutely perfect.
Well said, well said. But you also know that we're a church that do not tolerate elephants on the inside, right? We don't allow them to grow here, and we don't allow them to poop here. We don't allow them to have babies or to eat here, because elephants are a lot better if they're grazing out in a field, right, than if they get in a building and they start terrorizing people. And so RJ, you have come in like you're part of the old gang. Mm-hmm. Were you ever in something called WOW?
Absolutely.
How many of you people know that WOW was the start years ago? It's the grandfather of Ignite. Did you all know that? Some of you did, some of you didn't. And RJ, you're from old school.
Yep. Oh my gosh, WOW was...
Remember that?
WOW was wow. That's the best way I can describe it. It was so much fun. I mean, you sometimes forget that you're worshiping the Lord because it just comes so naturally. And that's the same way I feel here, even exponentially. I mean, There's really no great way to put it, but it's just worshiping just becomes so fluid and so easy here, and you feel so welcomed and appreciated.
So you're living out in Montana at the time. Your mom passes away. How many from the old days of Bismarck reached out to you? They reached out to you, and first of all, not only said love and prayers, but they said, RJ, we want you here.
Oh my gosh. I hope I don't start crying.
Please cry.
Thanks, Ernie.
These carpets are filled with tears, and they're healing, my friend.
It's not just the amount of people who reached out to me, but it's the amount of people who actually, when I came back, made an effort to come up and say to me, welcome home. And that meant so much to me, because the past 2 years or so, I had been living in a rut. And when I came back, and I knew what I was coming back to with my friends that I had been with at the church, but I didn't expect to make more, and I didn't expect to. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
I feel welcome, and I feel like I can be myself, which obviously you and I can be our kooky selves every day of the week. That ends in Y.
Thank God.
And I'm so thankful that the youth here accept me as well. That means so much to me. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Boy, absolutely.
But I'm so blessed to be in a place like this.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's go back to Kyle just for a moment. No, Kyle, we got the story that at the table you heard, and then you decided to come here. I want to know the first time you walked through these doors and you walked into that coffee shop back there, it's intimidating to be a new kid, to walk into any place like that you don't know. I want to know what you felt.
Okay, so I didn't know where the parking lot was the first night. So I parked
Most
out.
of us still don't know.
I parked out on the street in the front side of the building. And I walked in there kind of like, and I'm looking around, I'm trying to text Luke. I'm like, Luke, where are you at? Where are you? And he's not picking up his phone. I'm like, oh no. And so I'm like, yeah, Luke, Noslin, buddy. He goes, and just by chance, I met Pastor Randy. And I go, hey, do you know Luke Noslin, perchance? He goes, Luke? Oh, why, yes, of course. I believe he's over in our youth wing in the coffee shop. Coffee shop. Yeah. Okay.
That's got to be of the devil.
Okay, and we get in there, and he's like, Kyle, oh my goodness. I'm like, oh no. All of a sudden, everybody just whips their head at me. Oh no, hey guys.
So every head turns. You're the new kid. Now the spotlight is on you.
I had full intentions on being the cool guy on the block.
Okay.
And that quickly depleted.
Yeah, how'd that work for you?
It turned into like I was gonna sit at the table, with Luke and just kind of be like, yeah, I go here, trust. And then Luke takes me under his wing and he goes, okay, so that table, this boom, boom, boom,
Yep,
boom.
you got to come meet some people.
He goes, everybody over there, this is Kyle. Okay, you see that table over there? Okay, that's them. And then behind the bar, okay, that's Carson, that's Ben. Everybody say hi to Kyle. I'm like, no, Luke, stop right now. No.
You're killing me, man.
It was such a sense of being overwhelmed in that moment, but it was such a familiar sense. Yeah. And it's been one of the greatest roller coasters so far.
Kyle, if you could feel that every day of your life, would you take it? I mean, strip it all down and to what it's really about. It's about joy and it's about love. Would you ever get tired of that?
Absolutely not.
None of us would. None of us would. Hand that to Hadley. Hadley, let me ask you this. Do you remember when you came here for the first time and who invited you?
Ben, and vividly, yes.
Yep, and Ben said, you have to come here. Did he threaten you?
No.
Okay, Ben, you did a good job, man. You're listening in. Okay, so tell us about that and tell us how you felt the first time you came in.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm sitting in my car, right? And I text Ben, and I was like, Ben, I'm here. Come outside. And he comes outside because I was scared. And he brings me into the coffee shop and introduces me to everybody. And I say hi to Randy. He gives me a hug. I remembered him from charity. I don't know if he remembered me, but I remembered him, which was also kind of a good thing that I came in knowing who the leadership was, who I was going to be listening to that night. And then Ernie walked in. And
Which one? Me?
Yeah, you. That one. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm sitting at this high top table. And Ben goes, Ernie, this is Hadley. And I didn't hear you say one normal word that night. You rapped to me the whole time. The whole entire time. I thought you were crazy.
Have I confirmed that?
You have, but
Thank
in a
you.
good way.
I own it.
Yes, but it was unbelievably amazing.
Okay, why? Unpack that for us. You say it was unbelievably amazing. Obviously, you had a really good time, but go deeper. What did you feel?
Well, in youth group, it was like, I'm a learner. I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. And it was like an instant, this is where I want to be, learning from these people every single Wednesday and every single Sunday and every moment I can. And then if anybody knows me, I'm not usually a crier, but when I'm in this building, I'm totally a crier. And I remember that sermon that night, I'm like bawling my eyes out, and I was like, man, this place could move mountains.
In this place, we just don't know why, but everybody that comes in, they start to cry. Come on, Hadley. Anyway, that was beautiful. Pass it on to RJ, and RJ, you came back and you kind of described to us what you felt when you came in, and you used the word home. Mm-hmm. Talk about that.
Well, and the big thing too is that I didn't mention this, but I remember Josh, there was one night when I was at work. I was in Montana. I was not having a good day at all. And I knew that this move was happening, but it wasn't happening fast enough. And I just wasn't having the best day. And I had just heard for the first time the song Gratitude by Brandon Lake. Made me bawl my eyes out. And then Josh was like, hey, listen to church tonight. And so I'm at church, or I'm listening to church while at work, just trying to listen while work at the same time. And that song starts playing, and I had to walk away from work because I couldn't believe it. And I knew right then and there when I came back, I was like, this is going to be my this is going to be my home church. This is where home is. This is my second home. This is where I feel at peace. And then lo and behold, I think one of the first Wednesday services, I think Gratitude started playing again, and I started crying my eyes out again. But I don't feel bad about that because that's just me. And when you can express yourself without having to worry about what the person to your left or to your right feels about that, that's home. And I mean, that's something that can't be found easily. And I'm so thankful that I found that.
Boy, that's so beautiful, so beautiful. You came back. After you came back, then seriously, you came to church here, and we had been hyping this up a little bit, talking about what we're proud of what God is doing, and then you came back to church. You didn't have to. There was no obligation for you to come back to Inspire. Why did you come back?
The friends I have here are like family. I mean, seriously, it's Josh, it's Pam, it's Randy, it's Jordan, it's you, Ernie, it's Carol, it's Kate, it's everybody. I know I'm forgetting names, and I apologize, but it's the friends that feel like family. This is a lot like the second family that I really wish I had. Yep. And that's just such a beautiful testimony that I don't consider anybody here a friend. I consider them family.
Absolutely.
Because that is, I mean, that's how I view everybody here, is that if you're hurting or if you're struggling, we're all hurting, we're all struggling, we want to help you through that.
Yep, and through the years, many people have made a difference in your life. I know this. And you've named some, even tonight, and there's a plethora more of people that have made a huge difference in your life. When you got here, it wasn't long after that, and you ask us, I don't know if we ask you or you ask us, but all of those people that made a difference, you decided to give back. You decided to come into leadership to make a difference. Why did you do that?
I felt called upon God to do something more. I mean, I made the move, and I was happy that I finally am home and I can finally find peace again after a long time of, it's a long story, but it was a lot of suffering and depression and everything. And after I finally had found myself again through God, God was calling me to do something more. And I didn't know what it was at first. I was like, well, do I help out, somewhere? Do I volunteer somewhere, or do I pick up another job? What do I do? But then I'm just like, no, you're dumb. Go to Inspire. Go help them out. And the very first day I wore my name tag, and then the next week I had it off because people knew me already. Yeah. Which I was, oh my gosh. Yep. It was incredible. And I mean, I forget people's names still. I'm terrible with names, but I still can come here and I'll just be like, I'm sorry, what's your name? And it's not any judgment at all. Yep. And that's why I just felt called upon to come back, to do something more.
So do you feel love here?
Absolutely.
Do you feel God here?
Absolutely.
Do you feel accepted here?
1,000% yes.
Do you feel seen and heard?
I feel seen. I feel safe. I feel comfortable. any more adjectives I can't think of, but I feel them all.
So you're on board with continuing to help us to make a difference.
Absolutely. I will be here until the day I go.
Give it up for RJ. Come on. Can you pass that to Hatley? Okay, Hatley, same questions for you. You decided to come back. Why'd you decide to come back after you had been here the first time?
I had kind of been going through this like harder patch. And I couldn't understand why, if it was sports, if it was family, what it was. I just felt kind of stalled out. Didn't know what to do, didn't know where to turn. And this is the place I found a love beyond any measure I already knew. This was the place I found a support that I could always lean on. This was the place I got my homework done to come here. Like, this place completely turned around my attitude and how I saw the world. And I noticed that after about first, second week, and I was like, man, I gotta keep this tradition going. I have to keep growing myself and hopefully help others along the way.
Have you learned from the leadership here?
100%.
Those you look up to, you look up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel comfortable if your life went through the most sour patch that you've ever been through in your life, would you feel comfortable talking to some of our leaders about that stuff?
Oh, for sure.
That is so awesome. So there's a trust that is here with you. I want you to know personally, I'm so glad you have brought a spirit into here that is so kind and just so loving. And this is the leadership that we hope that our lives can produce. And that's what we dream about. That's what we get up in the morning for the Hatleys who are out there and the many others who come in. But so do you feel this is a place where you feel God?
Oh, 100%.
And you feel love
Mm-hmm.
and acceptance?
Every day.
And feel like it's a place you can invest in and give some of yourself to help others?
That's my goal, is to give myself to this place.
Ooh, can't get any better than that. Let's hear it for Hatley. And what about you, Kyle? I'm so glad we met. I'm so glad you've come here. And a side note, not only the leaders who've just come to know you and come to love you, but there's another one. His name is Rob Pesky. When you came in for the first time, he came to me and he said, this was one of the nicest kids who came through my system. And so we're talking about you, man. We're talking about you on the side, and we're singing the praises of Kyle, man. That's just awesome. So you came that first time. You were in the spotlight for a little bit, but you realized when you left you felt accepted and you felt loved, and you came back. It means a lot to us when people come back. Why did you come back?
Well, I'd also like to add that Mr. Pesky also told me that I was one of his favorite students in the history of his career.
Yes. Wow. That's big shoes to fill.
Happens to be. But coming here really makes me understand, like, when you go out to dinner with your parents or whatever, and they're going, oh my goodness, and they're saying hi to everybody they know. It makes me understand what that is like, just because walking into the coffee shop every Wednesday, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, hey, what's going on? And there's a whole bunch of storytelling. Excuse me.
I was wondering what you were going to say there.
And it's family. And
family.
there's no other way to put it than that.
Have you felt growth in your life toward God?
Absolutely. And this place has also become somewhere where whenever my mom has to work late, my dad is out of town, I might have to make supper for myself, I might have to fend myself the night. It's become the place where I can be with family who's not exactly by blood.
On behalf of Randy, on behalf of the board, on behalf of all the people who attend here, we are so excited to be part of the growth that's going to happen in your life. We cannot wait to see how you connect to Jesus and just get closer to him and the number of people that follow you into that, because that's what our hearts That's what our hearts long for. So thank you so much for putting yourself out here tonight. Didn't they do a wonderful
Awesome.
job?
Thank you, you guys.
Back to you, Rand.